Just remember, 73% of all men have visible abs. 88% can squat 5 plates. 100% can bench 405 pounds. 117% can deadlift 800. You're doing worse than you thought. You must try harder.
That's clean. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Large Lads, the largest show on the internet with your host, Maxolotl, Cursed Toad, and Samphibian. Apologies on the hiatus. I'm a little bit sick, but my dedication to this series is incredible.
Let's go. You're barely even sick.
Yeah, but I've been still going to complain about it on the internet.
You've been playing Pokemon all day.
That's the behavior of a sick man. I've been fucking up these trainers.
All right. Who's going first? What are we talking about this week? We want to start with the announcement?
Yeah, we'll start with the announcement.
The cogs are turning.
I would say phase 1 of the cogs turning.
The cogs have been phase 2.
Phase 2 of the cogs turning, boys. For the first time in years, I am taking on more clients.
Yes.
Please contact me, max@sheathertraining.com. If you want to be coached by the large man himself.
This guy.
The cerebral one, might say.
Yes.
I would love to quit my job. So
Let's
if you
go.
want to give me money, and I'll say, good job, brother, eat more food and get stronger. If that's what you're interested in, let me know.
If you want a real positive, affirmation-centric coach,
Yeah,
Max is your guy.
Sam may be a more experienced, better coach than me, but I'll bring the hype. I'll send you a voice message just saying, let's go! So that's what you're looking for.
No, I think there's a bonus of I've been doing this for so much longer that I do take the path of least resistance sometimes in communication. I think sometimes someone to be real blunt with you like you are. We're like, oh, you missed that because you're not trying very hard. Sometimes that's exactly what you need to hear.
So if you're looking to grow and develop with a coach,
Yeah.
I guarantee I'll put more effort into this first block because I really want to quit. So contact me. I'm passionate about this.
Max has been getting bullied at his job.
By a felon.
My next video, I think, is going to be titled "Follow Your Destiny" because that's what my HR rep said when I was like, "They're being mean to me."
Max went to HR. It was like, "Yo, my boss is like straight up like abusing me," and they were like, "Well, do you want to meditate?" Max is like, "No," and they're like, "Well, do you want to sit down and talk to your boss?" Max is like, I don't think that would go very well. And they're like, well, follow your destiny.
Boom!
The coolest.
The channel full time is coming soon.
Little does she know what that means.
So yeah, little announcement. Max@sheathertraining.com. Send me an email.
You get that set up?
Yeah, I already got it set up.
Rock and roll. All right, cool. Who's got topics? You got topics? Max has got topics?
Topic?
Are we doing training updates /
we
meet
should.
recap or no?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we haven't talked about that.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right, well, tell them.
No, I'll be last to go. You go first. How's training going, brother? Road to 800, huge dip.
I thought I was going first. Oh, yeah, so Max shit the bed.
Oh, that's a 2-year training update.
All right, yeah.
Fuck.
My training is going fantastic.
Okay.
Next week is the last week I ran a 5-week hypertrophy phase. Because I squatted 760 last block, and I'm like, the thought that I can go straight to 800 is still alive in my head. Me and Max have a bit of a bet going actually about this. If I get it, I'll be 2-0 against Max.
I would like to argue with that.
3-0 when my hair comes back.
You said 9 weeks like 6 weeks ago.
No. We said it was 14 weeks.
Okay.
I finished my block and I said next block and you're like, if you get it next block, blah blah blah.
That's fair.
I'm gonna off myself.
Okay.
Sounds
like me. Yeah.
You're like crying. You're crying or something. So I'm finishing up the hypertrophy phase. The dream is still alive. Squats going fantastic. Dips are really easy for me. Short arms are fantastic.
Yep.
Bench pressing is easy. Dips are easy. Deadlifts are hard. But yeah, the squat's going really good. Made some good technical changes. Feel like I've put on a good amount of muscle, right? What you can put on in 4 weeks. But I felt like I've built out my volume base to numbers that I haven't hit before in terms of total reps. Nothing else to say. It's good as fuck.
Let's go. Boom.
What about you, big dog? How's the bodybuilding going?
Really quick, I was just gonna say, it's so funny hearing Sam.
Hey, happy birthday, Clonger. Birthday girl. Birthday girl got sushi before this. That's why it's so late that we're filming this, is we had our birthday date.
Yeah, somebody messaged me who also has the February 28th birthday, which is like I've only ever met one other person. Shout out that guy.
Whoever you are, shout out to you. Good birthday.
My cut is going well. I'm almost 10 pounds down.
Oh, what?
So I am to the weight where I should have stopped my bulk. Pretty cool feeling.
So we're done undoing the overbulk.
Yes, the dreamer bulk part has been erased.
So now we're on.
So now I'm beginning the cut. But it's going well. What else is happening?
Can we talk about your training days that you've been doing?
Yeah. The bench coming back. We're doing like a little bit of a linear. I know people have asked for Road to 225. It's still brewing. I am benching, so things are looking up.
You're also doing heavy rows for the first time in your training.
I am.
Career.
My back is growing.
Let's go.
That's fantastic. I'm very excited. Been doing a lot of lat spreads in the gym, so that's been.
The classic Kirsten, one set, one flex, one set, one flex.
Exactly. And then my leg day is going really well. I think somebody asked me to post more of my lifting. I think once my set of 15 squat is a little bit more respectable, I will start posting that leg day.
Mm-hmm. I was watching Basement Bodybuilding. I assume Max doesn't watch very much lifting YouTube outside of like a couple of strength athletes.
Whenever Sam posts a good video, I'm on my tune in.
But there's a guy named Basement Bodybuilding. I like that guy. I think he's really reasonable. And like his thought process kind of aligns with what I assume I would think if I was thinking about bodybuilding. I like that guy. And he had one that's a very unpopular take on YouTube. That's what I think too. He was saying, he was doing like rating exercises or something. And I like listening to him like I'm doing my cooking or something. And he was saying that he thinks Kelso shrugs are massively overrated and that just doing a chest supported row is better. And that maybe you can use the Kelso shrugs to extend the set. So like go to fail on the chest supported row and then use it as an intensifier into Kelso shrugs. And he likes that better than running Kelso shrugs as their own exercise. And this is a really, really unpopular opinion.
I was going to say, for the scientific crowd, I'm sure that is not
this is not just
take.
on the scientific crowd. In our like little space on YouTube, people really like they like pull-ups and they like Kelso shrugs around here. And so me thinking Kelso shrugs are an intensifier, not an exercise, is not a popular opinion. And so I literally was like making the soy jack face. I was like eating my bowl of beef and rice, and Basement Bodybuilding was like, yeah, I don't think they're very good. I was like, oh, he says it.
I'm not the only one.
Because Kirsten's been trying to build up her mid back, and you've been doing the big chest support rows with a higher touch point, like upper back bias rowing, and you've been using the Kelsos as an intensifier. And you were saying that you said the same thing. You're like, doesn't feel like it would make sense to me to do as its own exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I really like it as an intensifier.
Yeah, because you were trying to do like more like mind muscle connection-y stuff, and we were finally like, your lats didn't grow until you started doing heavy weighted pull-ups, and then the mind muscle connection stuff got better. Yep. You know, your pecs didn't grow until you did like heavy this, you know. Let's probably take the same approach to the upper back and just do some heavy, more up like Yates rows. Get those strong, and then maybe we'll hit with the more isolated stuff a little bit better than we were. Yeah. I feel like that's been going fantastic. Your back is looking probably the most jacked it's looked.
Yeah, it's helpful to be cutting at the same time as doing pull-ups and dips. So that's
really
always
been
nice.
Sam's like cutting strat. It's just like, this is dip day. That way you don't want to kill yourself when your bench is going so badly.
True, and I also like have been tracking it.
In Minecraft, we're making a push.
Please like and comment.
Hey, Large Lads guys, all of you guys watch this. You're all so supportive. Like the video. Everybody always forget. Every time I remember to ask, we get like an extra like 150 more. So it's like I get why everybody does. I get why it's a cliche. Like the video.
What about you, Max?
Meat recap.
From
the fact that this is on a Large Lads, you can tell I did not get 1,000 kilos. We definitely knew that 2 weeks out.
Yep.
It's always so funny whenever I tell somebody like, oh, I don't think I'm prepped for the 1K. I always get like, come on, man, you got to believe in yourself. Where I'm like, I promise you I do.
Yeah.
I also just am looking at my training through what I think is a slightly objective lens.
Yeah.
And it was just like, cool. I think this was one of the best training blocks I've ever had. That was a particularly bad meet day, I would say. But I kind of had the exact opposite feelings as my last meet, where my last meet was like, I was really proud of my performance considering
Performed well off a bad
Yeah,
prep.
very bad.
versus-
I was like, this was kind of a shitty prep. Very, very good day considering that. This was exact opposite, where I was like, amazing prep. Just
Prep went perfect.
yeah. I am very happy
Other
with
than
how
your
much
flight
stronger.
getting delayed.
Oh my god, dude! I ended up sitting on a plane for like 6 hours, what should have been an hour and a half flight. I think it was like a 9.5 hour travel day.
Yeah.
I basically did an international travel day.
Yeah, we were saying we reckoned that based on how that prep went, we were up in the 2,170-ish range.
Yeah, like 50, 60 probably.
50,
like-
yeah, you're right, 50, 60, right? And that was about where we were at after the prep. We weren't going to find that extra 30, 40,
Yeah.
right? And so we're like, okay, cool, let's execute on that and then pivot into another training cycle. So Natty Max remains. We're getting this done. This
Yeah.
is an important milestone. And so it's so funny because some guys are like, believe in yourself. What are you talking negative about? And it's like, I agree with that mindset, but it's like a little bit more zoomed out. Like you can't just believe that this week you're going to do something
Yeah,
and do it.
in my mind, spiritually, I'm on like a fucking cruise missile path for the best
Yeah.
in the world. I also know that next week I'm probably not going to pull 900.
I have a lot of lifts from this prep that tell me like roughly exactly how strong I am. It's so funny. We overcalled your lifts by literally 2.5 kilos because we were trying to. You mentioned your back and you mentioned it wasn't a big deal. And we were like, all right, let's go for what we planned on based on the prep. And we should have just gone down literally 2.5 kilos on each. And I think they would have went.
Well, I got my first 500-pound bench, so
That was a big
bench
one.
went perfect.
Yes.
We got exactly what I was going
With
for.
more in the tank,
Yeah.
with a back cramp, right? So it's like that's something I'm looking forward to. I think we're able to get that up to like 520 for the next meet, which will give us a little bit of slack on the other lifts.
Yeah, so squat, I would say I got objectively stronger. I would say I definitely gave Sam incorrect information for the call.
Max walked off the platform, and I just make a little flow chart. This is what Kirsten does. This is what now Coach Max does. We make a little flow chart, just like really simple if-thens. Opener is the opener. Usually the second is the second. And if the second felt bad, we do this. If the second felt good, we do this. Average, we do this. And so Max walked off the platform after his second one, and I some lifters I consult them, some I don't. I trust Max. Max half the time walks off the platform and he's like, I feel fucking good. Load literally anything. Load 900.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. I'll load 2.5 kilos. Max is like, I'm dead serious. I think I could pull 900 right now. I'm like, awesome. We're gonna do like 830. But I'm like, usually that's like a good sign, right? So I was like, his second looked a little off visibly to me, but like. So your squat sometimes looks off, but I can tell that you're over your midfoot and your brace held. So I'm like, you could stick with a slow rep if you had to.
Yeah.
And you can feel that better than I can see that, right? And so you got off the platform, and I was like, how'd it feel? And what'd you say?
You were like, how are you feeling? And I thought you saw my squat and were like, that was horrible. So I was like, let's stay to the game plan.
Yeah, you were trying to stop me from dropping it.
Yeah, I thought you were like, should I take this down? I said, I feel pretty fucking good, right? So I was saying like, let's keep at the plan.
Yeah.
And you were like, all right, we'll jump in. Which completely my fault for not saying like, I feel 832 good. Because remember, as I was walking up the platform, I heard like, it's Max Sheether, 837. I was like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. And I gave it a great shot. Like very close miss, but like that was not like didn't get stapled in the hole.
Not an embarrassing attempt, right?
Yeah, no, I got halfway up. Shout out the spotters.
People always give me such a hard time for our jumps.
Oh, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
Well, it's just also, I mean, like,
we're not competing on a national stage. We don't like try to chip. That way we like, if we miss, it's all or nothing. We're saving energy to try to get the biggest third
Yeah, I
we
wasn't
can.
losing that meet. If
We're
I missed
local
mine.
meet heroes.
Bench went great. Awesome prep. Huge improvements all around. Most consistent, both prep and performance.
Yep.
Deadlift.
Peaking, if maybe people think this is interesting, you said we need to make this show slightly less technical and more fun for growth, but we'll include some technical stuff. We've been peaking Max's bench out early on purpose and then holding a high condition rather than attempting to time reaching the peak at an exact point like you would with the squat and would with the deadlift. We noticed that, that's not super reliable on the bench because you have big squat beforehand, nutrition's different, it's early in the day. Usually what good full power benchers do is they get in really good shape and then go attempt something that they're pretty routinely good for. They don't attempt, like, unlike a squat where you wouldn't attempt a routine squat. You peak so you could do something that wasn't routine. Usually bench guys get in good shape, hold the good shape, which isn't that hard to do. It's not that taxing on the bench press, and then go do something within their means. And we've been saying that forever, but we finally switched to like actively trying to get you towards peak condition, like 3 weeks out, hold, and then just have a really good idea of what's a pretty routine upper end weight. And that's been fantastic. Second meet in a row that the bench is actually properly in really good condition predictably.
Yeah, like I only touched 95% or above once on the deadlift, and it is the week before the meet.
Yep.
We touched 95%, I think 4 weeks out for the first time.
Yep.
So it's like we're just like hanging out in that range.
I think we did 4 weeks at it last prep as well.
And that also was...
it went great.
Yeah, the lift that went best to that meet too.
Yeah.
And then deadlift... boy howdy, very strong right up until lockout where I missed.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of good fixes for that.
Yeah, that's the only one that we're actually changing. Any like bench went great, no changes, right? Squat, really, there's not, like, we're trying to get you slightly more posterior in your squat because we think that's going to scale a little bit better if you're not going to be real chonk maxed. The deadlift is the only one that we're making like actual structural training changes to.
Yeah, my like general review was, it was like compared to my last deadlift and my last meet, if you just look at like speed at the knee, right? Because positions were extremely similar. I missed a lockout on both of my last 2 third pulls.
Yep.
I was like, I am substantially stronger than I was. So the like engine, right, way stronger. The weakest link did not get stronger to be able to like finish that lift. And so we both have like a technical address on that and also a strength that like where it's like, realistically, we looked at that. We said this position is finishable by everyone else.
Almost, yeah. Max. So usually when you see a guy miss high, I'm not. You guys know this. Usually when you see a guy miss really high in a pull, you're like, oh, I ripped it off the floor. My lockout's just weak. I need to do rack pulls. It's because you rounded the fuck out of your back to give yourself really good leverages off the floor, and then you have to undo that at the top. And that's usually mechanically, if you're at the top with a flat back, you're finishing the pull. Max is in pretty good positions at mid thigh and gets fucking stuck. And that's a pull that 99% of you guys, if you get a pull to that high and you're in those positions, that pull is finishing. So it's not as much a positional off the floor issue like most. It's like genuinely the top hat part of your pull is underdeveloped, right? And
yeah, so it's like we both have a solution because like I've pulled 835 before, right?
Yep.
And I now am somewhere between like 805 and 825 probably.
Yes.
Right. So it's like before I have been able to finish
on the
that pull.
stiffy for bonus points.
Yeah.
This matters.
I don't think I have atrophied any muscles, right? I think I have just lost like the ability to maintain certain positions. Or, my technique has become more like off the floor power centric, which is very, very the opposite of what I need. Because I'm like, I think I could pull fucking something stupid to my knee. I'm very, very strong off the floor. So it's just biasing my technique more so to like making the off the ground slightly harder, make the lockout a little bit easier because I'm not missing off the ground. I've never missed a pull off the ground.
Yep.
So just trying to bias my pull towards.
And we've attempted some dumb weights, and he still has never missed a pull.
Oh, yeah. I've attempted...
Nothing has ever been glued to the ground for me or Max.
I think I've attempted 40 pounds stronger than I was, and I still made it to my knee.
Yeah, there's never been a weight that glued me or Max to the floor. For better or worse, that mostly just means we're willing to round our back and keep pulling. But it's never happened.
I'm really ready to freak out at the deadlift. If nothing else, I've really trained that attribute for 5 years.
Yeah.
So just like biasing my technique to making it harder off the ground to make it easier at lockout, and then fixing hopefully more of the muscular weaknesses that are making me just absolutely get slapped at the finish of that pull.
Yeah, trying to develop, and like it's like positional strength is something that like it's not just positions, it's positional strength, right? Yeah. And we've talked about like there are guys who are so strong in their pecs that they get fantastic speed off their chest in their bench press. And that means every rep they do until like the end of a set or until they get to a really heavy weight, their triceps are barely working. You just throw, coast. And they end up developing a lockout issue because their triceps weren't really being stimulated by most of their training volume. I've even heard Mike Tusher talk about this, right? Where it's like, that's where like an accommodating resistance can come in handy, or top range partials can come in handy, but you could end up underdeveloped in your triceps because you're so strong in the bottom that all the submax work was great for your chest, but wasn't super stimulative for your triceps. And like, that's a known kind of phenomenon for some guys on the bench press. That happened to my lifter, Owen. We like not a super diesel guy, but we identified that in the past his pecs were weak. We hammered the shit out of his pecs, and he ended up, because all of his submax volume, he was just coasting through lockout. His triceps they like atrophied behind the development, right? And so like incorporating some top half partial work, which we're going to do, which is rack pulls, top half partial work, incorporating some accommodating resistance.
I think I might be the first person ever to do high rack pulls and have them be beneficial.
How high? Like above the thigh rack pull?
I think I'm one of the only people I've ever known above the knee, like true rack pulls.
Did you know Steve Goggins was huge on those?
No, I did not.
Because he was very posterior dominant, right? So he wouldn't do the thing that makes them useless, right? Which is just to like do a very high set rack pull and then rock your knees under.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's not very developmentally potent. Is that high of a rack pull with the knees pre-started under, immediately slid under. He's so posterior dominant, he didn't want to do that. And so he would stay over, like keep the armpit over the weight. And he would do like very heavy sets of like 5, 6, 7 on those. And he has his, because when he was working with a couple of prominent lifters at one point there in untested powerlifting, and I noticed that they were like every other week they were like sprinkling in these like above the knee rack pulls, and he swears by them.
Yeah. It's very funny. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's been like something. I feel like a lot of people that are like intermediates become like obsessed with sticking points, or at least if you're like me, you love the idea of like, how do I attack my sticking point?
Which is a great idea, but it could be taken too far.
Oh yeah, for sure. It feels like the like one of like the first smart ideas you have of like, where am I failing? I should address that. It's a really good train of logic that you can just like go wrong on sometimes, right? Because it's like what I miss in. I don't miss in training on reps almost ever, right? Yep. What I do, it's not like really at lockout, right? Because I can coast so hard. And so it's very funny because like what is failing at like super maximal weights is not what is like challenging for me when I'm doing 70% rep sets, which is very, very funny because it's like I don't think I have struggled at a lockout below 93%. But that's the thing that fails when we're actually trying to pull like super maximal weights. So like trying to find ways in training to make that actually be work.
More like that's Mike Tusher had a really interesting thought experiment, right? Where he was like, when you bench with light weights, right, and you're coasting through the lockout, you could argue that a banded bench, if it's light, is more specific. Like how are bands more specific? It's more specific to a maximal weight where you wouldn't have so much speed off the chest that you can coast the lockout. And so he's like, that's where people go awry with the idea of specificities. It's always just like vanilla SBD is specificity. Sometimes there's things you can do that make your lighter work more specific, even though it's a variation, which is kind of funky, right? Like I have guys tempo their squats because a tempoed squat at 65% is a lot more similar to executing a heavy squat for some guys, right? They just do everything. If they're doing everything different at a light weight, the tempo squat is more specific, right? You know, like the band, you could argue maybe the banded pull when you have to actually do mechanical work in the top quarter is more specific because with a heavyweight, you have to actually do mechanical work in the top quarter.
Yeah, like because I was using the bar tracker there for a little bit where it's like every single rep, even the ones that I was failing were all above 0.5 meters per second, right? So I was like practicing, like I can finish a rep no matter what if I'm like at this speed.
If
like,
I can get
that's the motion that I was doing was finishing reps at 0.5.
Yep.
Suddenly I'm at 95% and I literally can't get the bar to move at 0.5.
Yep.
And so I have no practice finishing a lift without that moment, like the bar moving that fast.
Well, that's a super interesting discussion, right? Is like, you know, Josh Bryant's a big fan of like, hey, sometimes, you know, the way you break through a sticking point is just to get even more speed going before the sticking point, right? A lot of his guys are maxing out speed off the chest to cover suspect lockouts.
Yep.
And it's like, that does work. Like if you could have got that 832 going fast enough, it would have gone. So that is kind of a solution, right? Like hypothetically, if you went fast enough. And then there's also like the old, like this was a big talking point among like equipped guys and conjugate guys was like, no, the ability to do a rep at a really slow speed is a skill in itself, right? Like panache is great, and he doesn't need to get that shit to even 0.05 meters per second. He just needs to move and he'll finish.
Yeah, hypothetically, at any point in Panache's pull, if you put a block there, Panache can pull that weight because essentially he has no momentum in there, so he can generate force from that exact position.
Yeah,
whereas like me or you, I'm sure there are points where if you put a block, we would be weaker than our max because we've never like tried to generate force from that height, and I would be much worse at it than you would.
When every lifter is like different, right? Like, you know, I'm a fast lifter, and like, you know, there is some benefit to being able to get better at executing a slow lift. But everybody, like, it's kind of like when you say guys go wrong with the sticking point. Like Kirsten was like really befuddled by this when she first started coaching. Like, she's like, well, you have to miss somewhere. People are like, I'm missing. Like, what's wrong with me? I was like, you might always miss in that spot. You might never change your missing point. It might inform some good accessories, but people are so upset. And they're like, if I could just, if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike, right? Like at some point, this is just like awesome. That's a cool, like you have to miss somewhere. If you got rid of that sticking point, guess what? There would be another one that appears somewhere else, or you're just going to lift infinite weight.
If I could pick up 800 pounds from the start to the finish, I could lift 800 pounds.
Yeah, and so sometimes people get really hung up on that, where they're just like, this is a thing that I need to solve. And it's like, I don't know if it's a thing you need to solve. It just informs some smart training decisions. And that's how I feel about being like a fast lifter, is like, there's some lift. I mean, if my bench is slow, it's not going, right? Yeah. Like you saw that 600. People are like, you had more. The fuck I did not. I maybe had 605. But it's like, if I can't reach that speed, it's not going. And like Lucas has talked about that, where he's like, people say I'm a fast lifter. Yeah, because I trained to be a fast lifter. Like that's what the system is built around. It comes with the territory that, you know, he's not going to do the slowest squat you've ever seen. It's just not something that he's trained to do. And be like, but what if he could? It's like, well, then we'd be running a whole different fucking training system. Like, sometimes these things, like, you know, the fact that you can't finish a slow pull, that gives us some info.
Yeah.
But it's like, you might never be a slow deadlift. You probably won't. You and I are pretty twitchy, right? We're pretty quick. I don't think you'll ever be like able to do the 7-second pull.
And if I have, and it just sits at lockout for 7 seconds.
Yeah.
I pull it very fast, and then I sit there
you
like,
hold it as you hold.
I look at the judge, try and sell it. I lean back. It's very funny on that topic. Whenever people like really lean into whatever speed they do, and the downsides of that, like whenever there's somebody who's just like, I'm the fast guy,
or I'm the slow guy, and then they just do the most overshot training you've ever seen.
It's also very funny being the slow guy and being like, oh yeah, I probably had 10 kilos more, and having a bunch of people on the internet call you an idiot. Or if you're the fast guy, having a bunch of people tell you that you had 20 kilos more.
Everybody telling you you're a sandbagging pussy.
Every time I'm like, like this was a maximum lift, and a bunch of people be like, damn, you really need to believe in yourself
Especially
more.
when
Max like, you could put a gun to my mom's head. I'm not fucking spotting that.
Yes, we've tried. I've seen.
I've missed plenty. It's not like I have no data points. I just never had the courage to really go for it. Like no, motherfucker, I'm just missing in training when I try that.
It's so funny because it really does. It plays into the perception that you're just some country strong dude who doesn't train smart. They're like, he has no idea he could deadlift 50 pounds more. And people at the meet were coming up to me like, you need to give more weight. I'm like,
I also love that I then missed weight and then missed attempts.
I know.
I was like, you've got to really. You're a sandbag. And I'm just going,
I've watched him fail in training and be really upset. Like he fails. Like we try things, we attempt, but like we're not just cowards. You used to get that so much when you were really famous, when you were like 15, with just everybody insisting that you were just like a complete bitch, and that if you loaded 100 pounds more, you'd lift 100 pounds more. It's like we tried that.
Because sometimes it would be me like doing like an actually hard deadlift, like just like sticky, bare, like arguably didn't log out the weight, and I would still get like, damn, bro, 20 kilos.
People
more.
that only see floor speed crack me up. I'm like, did you not see him fighting for life and death to sell a shy lockout?
It's also very funny, like the opposite of that, like being the slow guy and just like having people call you an idiot for thinking you had more.
Especially when you do.
Yeah, where it's like somebody who like genuinely is like a good like stick with it. Like Matt Venna, fucking that dude can grind, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that guy can squat 700 as fast as me. He can squat 850 a lot faster than me.
You could go down fast.
Yeah, much faster. Yo, Matt Venna, I can do a descent way faster than you, pussy.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Like, I used to get that where people would be like, I got that a couple of times when I was prepping for the 880. Like people would be like, bro's cooked, right? On my 815. I'm like, I'm under peak fatigue. I know what that means. You don't know what that means, man. Like, I did pull 880 2 weeks later. It's almost like I knew what was going on.
It's also
But also people assume we're idiots because Max mentions this all the time. As soon as people realize that I'm your brother and I'm your coach, they just assume we're the absolute idiot pair. Like, because you said
the genetic freak guys. Because I think where you're just going with this. Every time I've met someone who's like, my dad is my coach, I'm like, what a shame. What a shame. You're both idiots. Like,
well, yeah, like, and then you see their training and you're like, oh no.
well, I've been wrong twice.
Yeah, it's happened twice. He's been wrong.
And where I'm like, damn, this guy's dad knows what he's talking about. That's crazy.
Who was the guy whose dad was like an elite, like top ranked?
Dude, shout out to Braxton Mikashel's dad. His dad's a fucking stud.
It's really funny. Fucking apologies to the Mikashel family. I remember I heard oh yeah, my dad was a good multiply lifter, and I was like, yeah, right. And then it's like we found him. I was like, oh fuck, he was super good.
Yeah, dude, that guy clapped cheeks raw. He literally was like, all these guys are fucking getting so much weight out of their suits. I'm stronger than these pussies. And then he took off his suit and fucking clapped everyone's cheek. That guy's strong as fuck. I remember I pulled up his open power leg. I was like, Max, we need to take back. What the fuck, man?
Yeah,
that was funny because this was just a guy in Washington that was doing the same state meets in the USAPL Max was. That was like a strong deadlifter, not quite as good at the bench and the squat as Max was, but very good deadlifter, and just kept progressing and kept progressing. Took a really good run at beating Max's heaviest conventional done below.
He almost beat me by I think it was 3 weeks before I did. I remember I saw it. I was like, oh my god, that was close.
He took a great run at it, fucking all-American wrestler, right? And we were always like, hi, he's coached by his multiply guy dad. And we'd look up his multiply guy dad.
Oh fuck, he was awesome.
Fuck, this guy was a fucking stud. I saw an interview of him, and he's a smart guy, and I'm like, fuck.
Every other instance, my dad coaches me. I meet the dad. He's like, yeah, actually, I read a Louis Simmons book. Just oh,
you ever heard of West Side?
It also sucks whenever the kid is genuinely really well meaning or wants to get better, but it's you're never able to break out from your dad's horrible influence.
Yeah.
And then people are just meeting us, they're like, damn, those two genetic freaks, they're just making shit up probably.
Yeah, we get that a lot at meets. As soon as people learn I'm your brother, they're just like, oh, these guys are idiots. And then they try to client snipe you.
As you said, we got introduced to the classic practice of client sniping at meets. That's always such a funny one.
Yeah.
It's the dude wandering around.
And now that exercise physiology degree stocks are wildly down, thanks to Dr. Mike, that used to be my cop-out. I'd be like, hey, I've got a degree in exercise physiology. And people used to be like, okay, maybe. Did
you write the equation for strength? Or
they used it from East Tennessee State, that is. But then people used to be like, okay, maybe these guys are onto something. But now they're like, oh, I also did finger painting. Fuck, I went to a hard program.
That happened at family dinner when they asked us a physiology question, and I was like, somebody asked me, and I was like, Sam would have a better answer to that question, and you answered it, and they were like, having Sam answer it when you have a science degree. I was like, Sam's degree is more pertinent to the question you asked about physiology. What are you talking about?
I'm pretty proud of the program at my school. I thought it was pretty rigorous. Maybe I'm just dumb as fuck, but I thought it was pretty hard. All right, you had some. What do you got?
Yeah,
champ.
That fully switches gears over to some bodybuilding stuff.
Unk.
Okay.
Guys,
coming from you is
Kirsten has now officially reached Unk status.
No, not yet.
No. I swear I'm still brown.
I was gonna say I saw there was a lady who I really think is smart who has giant delts who's natty on Instagram, did a Q&A, and I was like, I'll ask her what her delt volume was like when she felt like she was making the most progress. And she just responded, my delts are genetically gifted. And I was like, I have so much respect for knowing that you just have a genetically gifted body part and that you didn't do anything special to have that be.
I don't have a unique method.
Yeah.
Every dickhead with a really good specific body part that they've always had since they were a child is convinced it's from no, it's because of my special. Everybody be like, it's because I played soccer that I've got massive calves. I played soccer too, bitch. That doesn't give you. What the fuck are you?
Every single dude locking out at his knees, selling an ebook on how to deadlift. You know less than me.
You lock out below your kneecap, and you're like, you pick it up.
Have you thought about putting feet wide, but not too wide?
Yeah, it's always like, well, I learned about bracing and then I pulled 850. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's also so funny when there's like a guy who like has a like awesome body part, and it's a real roll of the dice. When it's like sometimes it's like, whoa, you have crazy interesting insights to this body part, or sometimes it's like, oh fuck, you're like a beginner level knowledge on training. You truly are just a guy with 4-inch arms. Like,
every now and then you do get the savant guy who's like guy with long arms, got his deadlift up, really like deadlifting, dedicated 20 years of his life to deadlifting, and has like killer insight. Like I rate Andy Bolton as that kind of guy, where I'm like, I think Andy Bolton has fantastic insight. I think Andy Bolton had a great training IQ. I think that guy, he's got some stuff that people should listen to, right? And it's like his leverages were great, but he still learned a lot. But then sometimes you get guys, you're like, oh, you are a like intermediate technical level deadlifter with the craziest leverages I've ever seen.
what is like the inverse of a bell curve, where it's like high on one end and high on the other?
It's a parabola. I don't know.
All right, whatever the fuck that is. I swear to God, I'm smart, guys.
giving-
Please give me money to coach you.
I'm giving away my East Tennessee State.
My program was really fucking hard, guys. I feel like it really falls onto that. It's like elite.
Inverse bell curve. Math. Hey, Adam, you know math. You're an engineer. Help us out. Go. We'll pin it. Adam, please save us. Put it in the comments.
It's very funny. I feel like almost all of like the single lift specialist guys fall somewhere like on that of like, is it either a guy who's just so gifted and that's the reason he hasn't succeeded at literally anything else, or he's a really smart guy who has only ever done it or tried at this one thing?
Yeah, like he hasn't really given it a go.
All of the best information I've gotten are from guys who are only good at one lift, who have just spent their entire time
studying it.
Yeah, where it's like bench guy who has spent way too much time thinking about like the different functions of the tricep as it pertains to bench press. And also the worst advice I've ever been given is by elite single lift guys, just be like, so usually I try and eat 60 to 70 saltines, and I just freak out, and I'm like, of course. Yeah.
That sounds like something you would say.
Yeah, like that is the max staple pre-workout.
Have you tried putting goldfish in your ramen?
Hey, it was tuna and goldfish.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that was very likable, right? Because it's like everybody, oh, they've got big delts. And they're like, it's because of my special methods. And it's like, I saw a picture of you when you were like 15 and you had cap delts. I don't think it's your special methods. This lady saying that was super likable. Kirsten was like, well, I still kind of wanted to know the volume.
Right?
But
I was
okay.
like, give me something. But I just was like, that was a very chill and cool.
It is funny that people, like, I get it, right? Because there's the old argument that, like, oh, you could spot a fake natty by the traps and the delts. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
Because they've got higher androgen receptor density, right? It's funny because it just assumes that there's no natty guys that just happen to have delts as their best body part.
Yeah.
Right? It's like okay, maybe there's something to that, sure. But, like, just being like, I got the radar eyes. I just look at their delts. And it's like, there are some natty guys that have
I love the I've got radar guys, and then they explain their method. And it's just like, so I look at their traps, and if they're bigger than me, they've got
I look at only they can look like a bag of milk, but if they have big traps, I know they are doping.
Also, I hate a motherfucker on the internet picking both sides of, like, I'm like just a freak unlike this sport has ever seen, and they get so mad when people like are like, actually I earned everything.
Yeah.
Like every dude like, oh, I just have an awesome genetics for my quads, and they get like absolutely furious when someone goes like, well, yeah, you have big legs because you're awesome genetics, and they're like, no, it's because I actually do more work than you.
Yeah,
fucking coward.
they are trying to get the best of both worlds with the like, I'm just genetically better than you, and people are like, yeah, you're genetically better than me, and that's why you're really good. And they're like, no, it's because I work hard.
The video you made a long time ago about training time, right? There's a couple guys on the internet that I've heard say two different numbers on how long they've been training, or 10 years different.
Yeah, we're not.
I have heard 13 years and 3 years from
we're
the
not
same dude.
We are not a negativity podcast, so we're not saying names, but I have heard motherfuckers say they're really, really keen to say that I have been powerlifting for 2 years, and then when they're trying to pitch the hardworking card, they say, I have been lifting heavy for 12 years.
Or they'll say, I've been squatting, benching, and deadlifting for 15 years. Where I'm like,
I've been doing this for football for 15 years. That's crazy. You were pitching the other day that you're the biggest freak we've ever seen, and you've only been powerlifting for a year. Pick one. I've seen crazy discrepancies based on the narrative they're trying to push. Because I get it.
shit, dude. Let's be honest. I was 17 doing the exact same thing. Just being like, yeah, I've been living for like fucking 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm the craziest motherfucker out there.
You did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then once I was like, oh shit, I'm now no longer the freakiest dude around. I've been lifting for 25 years, guy. Despite my age, I came out of the womb studying.
People always say, what is that? I surpassed my genetics. Okay.
Yeah, I actually was born with shit genetics.
That's a real-
And I've just been training for so long that I broke past.
Average exercise physiology major answer. Yeah, I don't know. I get it because it's like people I get the athletes feeling frustrated either way, right? Because it's like, yeah, realistic. Like they're talking to someone and they're like, I can see the effort you're giving and how long you've been doing this. It's like, sure, if you had my genetics, you'd be better, but you would not be better than me, right? And so it's like, it's not that hard to explain it. Explain that though, right? They're like, yes, I have good genetics, and I also feel I have put a amount of effort into this over a long span that is unique.
I love like only if I had his genetics, saying that as a guy who's been doing the sport for 10 times less longer. It's like, you would also probably be as strong as he was 1 year in. That's probably true.
That guy you know who goes MIA every few months for months. You'd be one of the guys we've met that have that level of genetics that are an on and off training guy. Oh, those guys have a level of innate confidence that I'm really jealous of because they're like, yeah, if I tried, I probably could. And I'm like, fuck, he's right. That sucks. That fucking sucks.
It's not funny. You don't get points for that. You don't get points for hypothetical. You could probably be elite.
People do that. The if I tried, I was like, well, the trying is the part that makes it impressive.
Yeah.
Like, if I trained for 10 years, I could do that. Yeah, the training.
For sure, bro. Do it, or you don't get points.
The training for 10 years part is what makes it impressive. They're like, well, if I worked on my bench, I'd probably be a great bench. The working on the bench part is what makes the achievement. All right, you had another one about.
I forgot my other one. What's yours?
Oh no, I don't have any.
I've got multiple.
Let's go, brother man.
So I have two.
I'm very proud of your lifting.
Thank you.
You've been dialed. You've been cutting.
I'm locked in.
Boom.
2 months of being sentient and locked in.
What can I say?
We've been getting more. I achieved sentience comments. I like that inside joke.
I really
achieved-
I hate evil people and things. Like
I achieved sentience last week, and it's a rolling last week. I have been self-aware for approximately 2 weeks.
God, I can't imagine what an amoeba I was 2 weeks ago. What a fucking
2 weeks ago, I was a single-cell organism with no consciousness, and then I sprouted into existence
I
as
now
a brain.
understand morality and I hate evil. Okay, so I have two opposite ones.
Okay.
One, high reps for introducing new movements is goated.
I like it.
So, like, just for a really easy argument, right? Doing a hard 7 on a brand new movement feels bad and slightly
It feels like
dangerous.
shit. It feels
and
like shit, yeah.
Unstable. I'm unable to push the movement the right way, right?
Yeah.
But also, wasting 1 to 3 weeks learning a new movement and not trying hard feels like a huge waste of time. Easy solution, just do a set of 15 to 20 on that movement. It's way easier to stabilize. It's way easier to use the muscle you're trying to use. And also, you're still getting work in. Also, the fact that you're so bad at the movement, I think cuts down on like the disproportionate fatigue effect of doing a really high rep set. Whereas thinking about that, where like the whole argument up against high reps is like, it's the same thing. You're basically doing the exact same thing, but for a higher fatigue cost, right?
Yep.
But if I'm doing a set of 7, I'm fucking it up so bad that I'm basically not even doing the point of the exercise.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm willing to spend that extra little bit of effort and, but I'm also not gonna be able to incur that much fatigue because I'm so shitty at the movement that I'm not like gonna be like horribly fatigued from the first time I've ever done a split squat in the last 6 months.
I had to learn this the hard way with my self-coaching. 3 times in a row, reintroducing heavy hinging, I have tweaked my hamstring. And I've just been like, because every time I'm like, I'll just throw like 75% of what I was doing before on the bar. Goes horribly. I tweak my hamstring. I can't do another great set for like 3 weeks. This time I finally was like, Sam said I should probably do a set of 15 to 20. I'm going to actually do
Well,
a
it's
set of
so funny
15
because
to
it's like,
20.
yeah, I've tweaked stuff and trying to redo stuff and I'm like, I'm an idiot, right? But I've also wasted a full month being like, I'm going to ease into this to be safe. And I'm like, fucking, I just wasted a month of training, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really liking that just like, if I'm doing a brand new movement, why not just do a shitload of reps? Or like, maybe it'll be extra sets at that
Well,
lower
it's more
intensity.
practice to learn.
Yeah, it's more reps to practice. It's easier to do them because it's a lighter weight, so it's much easier to stabilize if it's something that's like unilateral or whatever.
I got more range out of my hamstrings because I started lighter. I think in
Hey.
the past I had been like, damn, my mobility is getting worse, but it's just because I put on an amount of weight that I couldn't do the right amount of ROM with. Crazy.
I heard a gentleman make a take the other day that I thought was pretty reasonable, and he's like every time I've had a lagging muscle, I have found it's because I connect really poorly with that muscle, and I don't execute the lift for that muscle very well, right? And he's like, so what I intuitively have always done, I didn't really think about it when I was doing it, was I would run a phase of doing that muscle more often, but a little bit less heavy, maybe a little bit less blood and gutsy, right? But do it more often to practice the skill of that lift and develop the mind. Depending on who you talk to, you could say it's to develop the mind-muscle connection versus to develop the skill of that lift for a bodybuilding fashion. And then naturally, once you reach a certain level of skill, kind of the same as the reps falling down, like you're saying, you'll intuitively want to pull back the frequency to continue being able to progress, and you'll be getting way more out of it. He's like this hippie guy that lives in the jungle. It's like jungle fitness or some shit. He's like, he's a real spiritual hippie guy.
You essentially get into spirituality in 2026.
I've been watching this shit. Like, this is big brain stuff.
You text me a lot of like, brother, our spirit energy is too low.
I'm like, this is some big brain stuff. I'm privy to this, but I thought that take, I was like, that's cool. That's exactly what I have done without really being super conscious of it. Is like, if I'm bad at a lift, I'll practice it more often, but a little bit easier, and then it'll progress, and then intuitively at some point, I'll begin peeling that frequency a little bit and taking those sets real heavy, lower reps, close to fail or to fail. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I never heard someone lay it out that simply of like, sometimes you have a lagging muscle. The reason that going high frequency off rip is extra beneficial, not just that you have more growth windows across the week, is that you're going to develop this skill. And then maybe you get so skilled that you can do a lot of damage to your body. And then that frequency needs to pull back, right? Because they say that like, advanced lifters might need less volume because they can really tax they're so good at those things, they could tax the fuck out of themselves. So when you're bad at the lift, you do it often and then you peel it back. I'm like, oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it is very funny thinking about like that there is a skill to hypertrophy. I feel like I forget that all the time because I'm so like strength training oriented, right? Of being like the benefit of doing the 2x frequency off of the bat probably isn't I'm setting twice the amount of muscle building frequency, right? But I am actually
that's part of the benefit though.
Well, yeah, obviously higher frequencies, but it's not literally. I don't think it's gonna be like literally double the hypertrophy
for sure.
But like I am actually getting double the amount of skill practice, and I'm doing it more frequently. That is actually like I might actually make the skill progress in 3 months that I would have made in 6 by doubling the amount of sessions that I'm trying to flex my tricep.
Yeah.
And then I have my opposite point.
Well, I was just gonna say one more thing is that's why I know it's a controversial take, but that's why I like a little bit of a runway in hypertrophy training. I know people talk about like if you leave a runway, you're leaving gains on the table, but that like skill practice, skill acquisition, building into it, I feel like is really underrated, especially if you're like beginner intermediate.
I like the higher reps serve as my runway, and I feel like that's been like my like current. I like that as a training philosophy is like just like doing a moderately hard high rep set instead of doing like trying to figure out how to do a hard 7.
Well, I think what Basement would say would be that if you are training for if this makes it to you, correct me. I think he would say something about like, we should probably be selecting really stable lifts that don't require a tremendous amount of skill if our goal is hypertrophy, to where you don't need a motor learning phase. Like a motor learning phase is a really, really good idea if you're a strong man, right? Like, people would, Sebastian Oreb talked about like he has beginners run a motor learning phase before they run a hypertrophy phase for SBD. I think and I've heard Martin say he runs a motor learning phase before he runs a volume phase. Yeah. And I wish strong men that I knew locally did that shit, because they just start ripping straight into hard sets. And it's like, spend 3 weeks figuring out how to do this really efficiently. Even if you've done it before, remember for 3 weeks, and then start building volume and then start ripping into hard sets. And it's like, so, strongman stuff's novel all the time. Motor learning phase is a very good idea, right?
Yeah, strongman especially because it's like a comp movement.
And it's changing all the time. And every show, it's a new height even.
Yeah, doing a hard circus dumbbell isn't really going to make you that much better at circus dumbbell.
Well, like that's a perfect example. Is like if, I got a couple of guys locally that are doing a circus dumbbell prep. And I'm like, look, if you try to do hard circus dumbbells for the first 3 weeks, it's just going to be dog shit training. I want you to put like 50% on in the first 3 weeks is really, really getting in touch with how you're going to do it, and then start into building some reps. It'll go better than if you just started ripping into it off bat every time, right? And it's like something that I intuitively do that I realized my athletes weren't doing, so I had to program it more specifically because guys weren't doing it. But he would say that like, do you need a motor learning phase for a preacher curl machine, right? And you should be selecting exercises as such for the most part, right? Like, and so I'm like, that's an interesting point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super fair. I do think beginners do need still from the in-person coaching I've done, I have seen a lot of people do a preacher curl terribly. Like you cannot fathom how badly someone could possibly do a preacher curl. So if you're a beginner especially, I would say that. But I'm saying like even the hack squat, like I did the hack squat for like a year straight. The first like 4 months, I think the tech wasn't as good as it could have been.
I agree. I think there is a little bit more room for mind muscle connection. There's a little bit more room for nuance to get more out of 20 pounds less. Because I think some people are really like, if your external positions look good and you're progressing in mechanical tension, that's all there is to it. And it's like, you don't think that there's like a 20-pound pullback in weight that you can gather like small differences in like quality that make that 30 pounds like something is lost in the just over, like, not, by the way, basement bodybuilding is not a just overload guy.
Right, we like that guy's stuff.
Yeah. What was your reverse point? I've got something after. I've got something for after.
Okay, my reverse point was just, this is honestly a point to myself. This is me screaming into a mirror.
Yeah.
Don't use high reps as an excuse to be a coward, Max.
Yeah,
because if you run only like high reps for a long time, I've definitely caught myself being like, I'm training so much harder than everyone else. Like, my perceived effort is so high. I'm actually not that fucking close to failure, though. But, like, and then I give myself a little brownie point of, like, I went so fucking hard today. I had 3 sets of 20, but they weren't that fucking hard. And so I'm kind of just using that as a mask to be a little bit of a coward.
Me and Kirsten have noticed that, like, if a guy says if he's an older guy and is good on it, he prefers it. That's fine. But if I know a guy and he only does like 20 reppers on every exercise, like you really haven't found a single exercise that you think a 10 repper is better or an 8 repper is better, you go wholesale. You always go 15 to 20. Almost always those lifters have terrible proximity to failure. And they're using it. They're like, well, I got a crazy lactic burn. And it's like, you did not have involuntary mechanical slowing. Your proximity to failure. Most of the time when I know a guy that exclusively trains 15 to 20, it's like their proximity to failure is off. If you nail your proximity to failure and that's just how you like to train, awesome. No gripes.
Yeah.
If that leaves your body feeling better, fine. I don't care. Usually I usually like to see a diversity of rep ranges on exercises because that shows me that the person is thinking, right? Like,
I'm the 20 guy.
Oh, these fucking. There was it was a TNF thing. It might have been a TNF video. TNF's quite good on average, but he was like, people were like, oh, the reason I like to do 12 reps on my lateral raises instead of 6 is I feel like I can execute them better, right? And he's like, it's hard to do good form with 6 reps. And he's like, no, it's not. Just do it well. And I was like, well, maybe I'm dumb as fuck. I can't do it well. I'm going to do 12. It's easier to do a 0 RR lateral raise with the form the way I like if it's 12 reps. So maybe I suck. That's fine. And so it's like there's a couple exercises. I'm not doing a 6 rep barbell row. Maybe I suck. I can't quite do it right. I can do a 12 rep barbell row. That's right. So it's like...
Not to make this the 15th anti-science guy argument. I was going to say, there are some movements.
Hey, these are different enough camps of science guys that like nowadays everything is an anti-science guy. Being low volume is anti-science guy. Being high volume is anti-science guy.
They've covered a wide area.
Yeah,
there are some movements where it's like, oh yeah, doing a heavy fucking 6 or whatever on rows. Shit, dude, I don't want to load that many plates. Like, that's so heavy and so fatiguing.
Yeah.
It's actually less fatiguing.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah. I don't know. I just say I like to see usually a diversity of rep targets shows me that people are trying to find what fits the movement best, which shows me that someone's actually mentally checked into their training and not just wholesale being I'm the 6 guy or I'm the 20 guy. And just because that's who they listen to, I'm like, usually that's a great sign. But usually when me and Kirsten see the 15 to 20 guys, it's like, it's guys that don't like doing like grindy reps. They're guys that don't like going heavy and they don't like getting close to fail and they like getting a nice pump. They get like getting a nice burn, but they're absolutely leaving reps on the table.
What was your last topic?
Oh, I was just gonna say we were entertained. I'm sure a lot of guys will want it. We'll see if we can actually figure it out because we're dumb as shit around here at Sheether Training LLC Inc. We've entertained the idea of potentially having guests on.
Yep.
I've had the idea for a while now that if you guys know like Fouad Abiad's podcast, they just kind of have like a drop-in hours type of deal where it's like there's guys in the community that people generally like. And it's like whoever wants to can come join the call. And it could just be like, I don't know, I like Basement, I like Freaky D, I like Bromley. I like Paris. You just want to come fucking hang out.
My buddy in high school that I kicked a leg, I'll give him the number too.
That guy that was ready for Diddy, as the comment said.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
His name is Sack.
Yeah.
So that guy could become it could be anybody, but like that was a format that I entertained because I think that, like, you know, 4 guys shooting the shit, 5 people calling in characters that people know in the space. I'm like, that's something that I think people actually could enjoy and could be interesting. And then also we're going to be doing a second episode of Large Lads on the Patreon.
I was going to hide that one until...
We're going to hide it?
Well, no, not now.
We're going to put it on the Patreon.
The cogs are turning. Pay attention to the month of March for the Sheether training. This is not the end of the cogs turning.
It's true.
There are many more cogs.
The cogs are in motion,
We are
boys.
literally all day. We lift and then we rotate cogs.
I know you guys were like, whoa,
We
they're
live-
talking about the cogs, and I didn't see much. It's happening.
Did
in
they
the
say
chat-
that?
In the chat, no.
Oh, I was like, you rage baited me. I was like, I fucking bought a $400 light. We got a new camp. If you guys are like, I was gonna say, if there's I have seen no cogs turning comment, I'm crashing out.
No, that's extra funny because you actually have been doing all of the stuff that anyone has seen with
Thus
AK,
far,
fixing the camera quality, all of that stuff.
Thus far, the cogs have been me, but Brother Max is now starting to rotate.
In the background,
We live in a
I'm
giant
moving
clock.
a big cog. Thank you guys.